But today I want to talk to you about some things that I think not only will you find interesting, but for the most part, what we've done is that we've actually talked about these things just a little bit this morning already. And that is continuing on the topic of facing the giants. And this time together that we're going to have is going to be something that I actually extended from speaking last night at our Saturday evening service. And that is one bite at a time. How do you deal with your giants? How do you deal with your problems? How do you deal with the challenges that you're facing in life? What is it that you do when things seem to be so difficult to be able to get around? How in the world can you be able to succeed? It seems to be overwhelming, but yet the age-old question is this: how do you eat an elephant? What's the answer? Say it again. One more time. So that's how you deal with an elephant. If you have to eat this elephant, or you have to proverbially in the marketplace, one of the happier statements right now is you got to eat the frog. And what does it mean to eat the frog? That means do your most difficult tasks first. Get those things out of the way. Use the 2-minute rule. When you use a 2-minute rule, almost any task that you undertake can be done in 2 minutes. Procrastination takes hours, but tasks take very short amount of time. And so what do we do with this elephant? We eat this elephant one bite at a time. So now, how did David actually deal with this giant that he had? Here it was that he comes out onto the field, and out in this field is this giant whose name is Goliath, 9 foot 6 inches tall. Can you imagine having a neighbor that was 9'6" when you're 5'3"? Somehow there's just a little bit of low self-esteem that's going on because this guy has grown twice as much in the same amount of time as you have. And so here it is. Here it is. He's 9 foot 6 inches tall. David is just this little guy. He's 17 years old. And all of a sudden he goes and sees his brothers. When he sees his brothers, Goliath comes out onto the field. Goliath begins to roar. And he says, you give me someone that I can fight against. Give me somebody that I can actually deal with. And when you give me this person, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed them to the birds and to the animals. That's what I'm going to do. And Goliath roared. And everybody was scared. And for over 1 month on a daily basis, they ran away from Goliath. So when David goes down to see them, here it comes on day 31. And when day 31 comes and Goliath comes out and he roars, everybody starts running again, and David is running with them. Do you realize that the people that you run with really determine whether or not that you're going to have courage or whether you're going to be afraid? They're going to determine whether or not that you have a great marriage or whether you have a poor one, the people that you're with. They're going to determine whether you're going to actually go to a place that you're going to go to a whole nother level in your life, or what you're going to do is you're going to stay the same and become worse, just like they did. The people that are around you, they're really determining that, whose voice becomes great. So David, here he is, he runs with all of the armies of Israel. And when he runs with them, all of a sudden they say, oh, and by the way, did you hear what was going to be given to the man who killed this guy Goliath? And David said, well, what is going to be given to him? He said, well, he's actually going to be made rich. And he's going to be able to marry the fox. And she comes complete with all of her Barbie dresses. And then his whole family is going to be free in Israel forever. And David said, well, let me check on that. So he goes over and sees his brothers. When he sees his brothers, he says, hey, what about this? And they say, oh, we know you. We know you. We know the sin of your heart. You can't do this. You don't know anything about war. All you know is about taking care of sheep. That's all you know about. You just been helping Daddy. That's all you've been ever do. You just a mommy's boy. That's all you ever. So all they did was they just made fun of David. David said, what have I done? Actually, guys, what have I ever done to you? So he asked someone else, what is it going to be given to the man who destroys Goliath? He said, he'll be made rich. He said, because Goliath should not be taunting the armies of Israel. He's saying, did you hear what he just said? Did you hear him say that there's no God in Israel? Did you hear him say that? And they kept running. And that's exactly what people do. I would rather die in faith than to live in fear. Because everybody's going to die. And where you go, you're going to live forever, so why not? I mean, if you get a white robe, the Bible says you do. You get a white robe, and you're like in your mid-20s. That's pretty good. Can you imagine how old you'd be according to God's clock? It says a day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. You might be like an hour old. I mean, as far as God's concerned, you look like a baby. I mean, to others, but to God, just think of that. And so David just asked someone else, he said, he's going to be made rich. He's going to be able to marry the fox. I think her name was Barb. And then his whole family is going to be free. They're never going to have any taxes. They're never going to have any bills. They're never going to have to deal with anything financial all the rest of their lives. And David said, I'll do it. Why? Because I'd rather die in faith than to run with you guys. So let me give you a few things that happened with David, and then we'll just talk for a few moments. The first thing is that David feared as all the others who were facing the giant. He feared as all of the others who were facing the giant. And then he heard of the reward. The third thing was he spoke to the giant. You know, I kind of figured something out about Goliath. You're either talking to him or he's talking to you. I mean, it's true, isn't it? I mean, the giants, they either talk to us. Well, I don't know if I really believe that. I don't know if I believe in, I don't know if I believe all that stuff, positive confession. Well, but now, right now, the whole world is telling you, it's so funny. Do you realize that right now, one of the biggest things, one of the bigger things that psychiatry is discovering is that religion can be an escape from mental illness? Hey, I was a nut till Jesus showed up. When Jesus showed up, all of a sudden he took all my almonds away. I woke up the next morning and I thought, wait a minute. What just happened to me? You see, you can be delivered in a second's time. So David, he just, he spoke to the giant, because when you're speaking, you can't hear your problem. When you're speaking, you're in control. When you're listening, whatever's talking to you is in control. And so here it was. He then decided to start running at him. not run from him. Well, I just don't want to get into an argument. You don't have to try to get in one. One's coming. You can have it today or you can have it in a year. You take your pick. When you get it in a year, it's going to be a lot bigger than it is today. Isn't that true? Yeah. Some of y'all, you like that? Some of y'all put off your conversations a little too long, didn't you? Then all of a sudden it took up 10 extra years of your life. And you lived that whole time in those 10 years in misery. Don't look at me with that stone cold face. This is not Stone Cold Ice Cream Parlor. Or Cold Stone, right? Stone Cold Ice Cream. You can tell I don't particularly care for that. I never really liked soft ice cream. I never did. I only really liked when ice cream was a little bit harder than normal. I think if you really like soft ice cream, you should come up the next prayer line. We'll just leave it. You just we're going to have like a prayer line for soft ice cream. You love soft ice cream. So David spoke to the giant. He started running at the giant, but not based upon his ability. You see, how could some 5'3" character fight this giant? Saul gives him all of his armor, straps it on. David's kind of walking around. Here the sleeves come down, because remember, Saul was head and shoulders taller than any other Israeli. So David's walking around with this armor. And he's supposed to go out and fight this 9'6" character, right? He said, I can't do this. And at the same time, some of you have gotten too close to your giant. Because when you get too close to your giant, he can hit you. Have you ever seen somebody, I mean, it used to be on TV all the time, but did you ever see somebody who actually put their hand on somebody's head and they just kept swinging? And they couldn't hit them. They were this far away because they had their arm out. That's how close you let the giant come. You never let him come close enough to be able to hit you. Ow! Don't you know that hurt? That hurt. He hit me. I know. Don't let him get that close. Wake up before he comes close to you. You can feel him coming. You know he's coming because you can hear his voice. A person's voice always travels much further than how big they are in their body. So here it is. So David starts screaming at the giant. Why was David screaming at the giant? So that the giant would be afraid? Oh no, so he couldn't hear the giant. That David said, you come at me with a sword and a spear, but I come to you in the name of the Lord. Well, you know, the Lord God of hosts, of whom I am and whom I serve. Did he say that for Goliath? Oh no. He said that for him. And then he just decided to do the Steppenwolf song. Get your motor running. So he just started going after that. He went right down, man. He just, man, hey, you come at me. Hey. Because the more you scream about it, you can't hear him screaming at you. So he's running. He didn't stop. He took the rock on the run. He just gets this thing going. And all of a sudden, Goliath just goes. Now what's David going to do? He told him he was going to cut off his head. Well, how could he do that with a stick? That's what Goliath told him. He said, you're going to come out at me with a stick? Because he had his shepherd's staff. So David shot his mouth off. What's he going to do now? He doesn't have a sword. He looks around. The Bible actually says that he went around Goliath's body to get his sword. Because when Goliath fell, his sword didn't come out. When Goliath fell, he was laying on it. So he goes around his body, gets his arm under his body, and yanks his sword and kills Goliath with his own sword. He didn't kill him with his. You can kill your enemy with his sword, not with yours. You can destroy that lawsuit with their sword, not with yours. You can destroy the attitudes in your office or in your business with their attitude, not with yours. Not by you getting worse. You can destroy the misunderstanding in your home with your friends with their attitude, not with your attitude. You see, I'll never forget when Peter and Jesus are walking. Peter's thinking, hey, me and Jesus are cool now. Everything is really great. Until Peter opens his mouth and says, what are we going to do about them? You see, isn't it interesting that Jesus didn't tell him, well, listen, let me tell you how you need to really work with this situation that you have. He didn't. He said, what is it to you? You do what you're supposed to do and stop thinking about what somebody else is supposed to do. You know, that fits everywhere. It fits in your marriage. It fits with your kids. It fits in your home. It fits in your relationships. It fits in society. We keep trying to do everything else that other people are going to do. You know, the one thing, society is kind of screwed up right now, don't you think? It's kind of weird. I mean, it's kind of weird. We're kneeling, we're standing, we're talking, we're tweeting, we're doing all of this crazy stuff that we're doing. What I haven't figured out is how what we can do is that we can talk about things that are so bad when everybody that's taking a knee in a football game is making millions of dollars every year in a country they say has no opportunity. That's right. That is one thing that I have a little bit of a challenge with. Hey, we got stuff to do, don't we? We got stuff to fix, don't we? But don't say that ain't a start. That's right. It's just that, because for me, I don't make millions. It's a funny thing. Oh, we all got these issues. There is not a person, you have to understand hell. Hell wants to make every person in the world a victim. Everybody. So that instead of us being able to have a united front to be able to win in life for people, every one of us have our own particular cause. And when we have our own cause, then all of a sudden, none of us get along. We won't get along about anything. We'll never win. We just won't make it. And we can't be victorious in anything that we do. And so what I want to do is I want to actually just talk to you about 5 things. Everyone say 5 things. I want to give you 5 things in 5 minutes. Whether I will or not, it'll be a miracle. But this one thing I know is this, is that every giant that you face is a giant to destroy you and the time that you have left on the earth. How can you deal with the giants that you have to face? I don't care who you are. I don't care where you came from. But I do care where you're going. Where you came from doesn't mean anything. Where you go means everything. Okay, so here they are. 5 things. Everyone say 5 things. 5 things. Say 5 things. 5 things. 5 things. 5 things. That doesn't mean you're going to go get a hamburger either at Five Guys. But here's 5 things. Number 1. Shaking off symptoms is a key to defeating the giant of sickness and disease. I'm sick. Well, okay, what'd you do? Well, I prayed. Oh, no, 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 no. Sick people go to work because you're healed.
Amen.
If you're healed, you go to work.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but I sniffle. That's okay. Healed people go to work.
That's right.
Romans 8:11 says, if that same spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in you, he that raised Christ from the dead will bring to your whole being, yes, even to your mortal body, new strength and vitality. Boy, that's really true. The same spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives inside me, and he that raised Christ from the dead has brought to my whole being, yes, even to my mortal body, new strength and vitality. Who himself knew no sin, he was made to be sin for me. He took my sins in his own body on the tree, that I am dead to sin, I'm alive to right standing with God, and with his stripes I was healed. Number 2, fear is the greatest giant you'll ever face. You must destroy it. You cannot live with fear. You cannot live with compromise. There is no place where the two of you can live together. Fear must be destroyed. It must not be tolerated. Fear must be destroyed. Say, fear must be destroyed. In Psalm 118, verse number 6, the Bible tells us this. He said, the Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do to me? Say, the Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do to me? This will answer everything. In your home, in your business, man, between people, the Lord is on your side. Say, the Lord is on my side. Yeah, what do you care about people? What do you care about what flavor they are? What do you care about where they came from? What do you care about it? Because you're either going to be a Christian or you're going to be your ethnic group. That's what you're going to be. You know, I'm a Jewish American. I'm a Spanish American. I'm a Creole American. I'm an African American. Well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been there? Where you been? Indiana. You been to Indiana? Oh yeah, the dunes. I've been to the dunes. Come on. You know what? That's just the devil anyway. Come on. Forget about it. I talked to Forget About It this morning. I said forget about it. Because I don't know his name. All I know this guy's name is Forget About It. Because every time I talk to him, here's what he tells me. So guess what I call him? Just forget about it, okay? Just forget about it. Don't even think about it. What are you thinking about? Hey, what do you spend your time? Destroy fear. Does fear destroy you? Say, I refuse to fear man, and I will not be snared. But I will put my trust in the Lord, and I will be kept safe. For God has not given to me the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. Man, that's you. What has that got to do with whether or not that you were born on the south side or the north side or the east side or the west side? It don't matter. No, for me, I was born in California, and you go, oh, born in California. What do you care? They grow more nuts in California than any other state. Do you understand that? It's really true. They got more nut trees. And I could say more. Number 3, get on God's financial track and put the giant named lack behind your back. Get on God's financial track and put the giant named lack behind your back. Man, just, you know what? I understand. Man, things are tough. Oh, yeah. Man, I'm facing difficult times. Oh, yeah. Man, I'm having trouble. Oh, yeah. Man, you don't know what I'm going through. I know. I'll tell you what, people think, man, he's prophetic. Are you kidding me? I just know what the Bible says, and I just tell you what it says. You go, how do you know that? Because it's no big deal. All of us face these issues. You know, if you make $50,000 a year, you have a $50,000 statement being made to you. You make $100,000 a year, you have a $100,000 statement being made to you. You make $200,000 a year, you have a $200,000 statement that's being made to you. And the statement is the same. You don't make enough. You don't make enough. No, here, let me help you about money. The greater the problems that you solve, the more money that you will get. Somebody said, well, what I want to do when I grow up is I want to be an accountant. Okay, do you understand? You want to be an accountant? Okay, do you understand how much accountants make? The average accountant's salary in the city of Chicago today is $37,110. Somebody said, oh no, I think I'm worth twice that. Well, then you have to find a different field. If you're worth twice that, do something that actually brings twice the amount of money than being an accountant. Because you can't be an accountant and do the other just as well. Because the average pay is $37,110. That's exactly what it is. See, so what about being a bookkeeper? Well, yeah, you can be a bookkeeper, but just remember, a bookkeeper is $32,577. I'm worth more than that. Solve a better problem. Lack goes away the greater the problems that you solve. The more problems that you solve, the more money that you'll get. You say, yeah, but you know, I don't really care if I make money. Yes, you do. Don't try to tell anybody that you don't care about money. Well, I don't really think money is really important. I didn't say money was really important. I just said until...
If you are in the Chicago area, we would love for you to join any of our services. We have a 5 p.m. service on Saturdays, and on Sundays we have a 9:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. service. We also have midweek services on Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. at locations around Chicago and Northwest Indiana. To find out more about FHC, like us on Facebook or go to our website at FHClife.org. To partner with RTM, visit robthompson.org/partner or call our office at 708-614-6000. We look forward to seeing you very soon.